Alright guys, it's been, been a really long time, but I'm going to go ahead and jump right into this. You guys have been asking what I think the top 5 junglers are and what a lot of people are kind of playing in that top 5 jungler position. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into it. I'm going to start with who I think is best. I'm going to work my way down to who I think could be 5th or even 6th in there. So we're going to go ahead and start off with Bellona. The reason for Bellona being number 1, in my opinion, is you can play this god as a initiator, as a carry, as a support peeler. You can frontline, you can backline, you can build it as a really squishy god that does a ton of damage and burst and crit, or however you want. You can build full tank and still do immense damage and be a major point in every single fight. With that being said, it's all how your playstyle works, how you really want to play the character, the god. I have a specific build that varies in some positions, but it's a general build for a general playstyle that I really think works all the time. You can optimize in different spots. Like I said, you can change an item for this item or whatever, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. But you really can do everything with this god, and that's why I put her as number 1. She's also not really countered very easily. You have a really good early game, you have a really good mid game, you have a really good late game. So there aren't many gods that just completely destroy Bellona, and because of that, I have her at number 1. Now, for the build, obviously you're jungling. Your starter item is going to be Bumba's Mask, no matter what. You're also going to start with a Hog. I prefer Hog 1. You can go Hog 2 if you really want. I like the idea of finishing boots right before mid camps come up or right as mid camps come up. So basically, you can do mid camps at 3 minutes and then go ahead and pick up your full boots, which is kind of the key to my playstyle. I like to finish my items faster. I usually do not finish Hog until the very end, 30 minutes into a game, or unless my teammates ask. Before I jump into this build a little bit more, this is based off of competitive play. It's not only based off of casual or whatever. In casuals, you can get away with just about anything. So if you want to give your input on what I'm saying, please try to remember I am basing all these builds you're going to see, I'm basing them all off of playing at a competitive level or even a high ranked level. That is the basis of these builds. Now, that being said, I like finishing boots first as fast as possible. You go Ninja Tabby. This god can do crazy damage and have crazy sustain based on your attack speed. So you're going to go ahead and finish those boots as fast as possible. Now, right here is where the build can vary in multiple ways. I usually, like 90% of the time, will build Ichival first item. This is obviously going to get you some damage. It gives you a little bit of defense with the power you steal, and it gives you just a little more variety in how you're going to play. You can still kind of play passive or play as the front line, or you can even play back and be the back line, do a ton of damage, whatever. With that item, you can still go either way. Now, next, I go right into Heavy Hammer. You finish Heavy Hammer. This is full Heavy Hammer. The health you get 400 health from this item. You get a little bit of power. The health is kind of the key. It allows you to continue to either be aggressive, defensive. You can be both. You don't have to do one or the other at this point. You can do both. You can switch back and forth, whatever you want to do. Now is where I start to build defense. Now, originally, when I made this build, I would go into a Mystical Mail, and that was something I did at LAN when we won. It was something I really liked. I like the sustained damage. You just run around, you're in their face, you're doing extra damage. Now, with that being said, it's very expensive. It's an extra 600 gold on top of Midgardian Mail. So if you want to finish your build, it still be tanky, you do get a little bit more health, and you get a little bit more of, hey, I'm going to destroy hunters with Midgardian Mail. You can go for that. If you get really far ahead, I like Mystical Mail. It's fun, it's hilarious, you destroy kids. So it's up to you. I'm going to go ahead and say go Midgardian Mail based on you're not going to be ahead on every game, so it's more reliable to go Midgardian Mail. Plus, you don't know what's going to happen after you get that item. Now, next, you're probably going to want to build another tanky item. If they have lots of physical, you can go Hide. If they have a mix of magic and defense, you can go Spirit's Robe. I really like Spirit's Robe. Passive is nice. Cooldown is huge. Yeah, you're an auto attack god with Bellona, but if your ult's up a little bit faster, your dashes are up faster, your disarm's up more, it's really helpful in team fights. If they have a lot of lockdown, in one of my SPL matches, I actually did less damage than Incon, or my support player, and that's in professional level play. I, as a jungler, did less damage. Now, it worked out for us because they were using all of their interrupts and lockdown on me, but had I just bought a early Magi's Blessing in this spot, I would have been able to get off my second ability, which is your Bludgeon. It does a ton of damage. It's kind of the core to your damage in the early to mid game. If I had got that item, I would have been good and done more damage. So that kind of made me realize Magi's is key, but you have to recognize whether you're playing against people with some lockdown, whether you're just playing against full damage, like say it's a Poseidon. You're really going to want some magical defense if you're eating those ults a lot. If you're able to dodge them, it's another story. You can change up your items. So I recommend either Magi's in this position or a Spirit's Robe. If they have tons of physical, I would go Hide of the Nemean line. So it's all up to what the other team is. In a general build, Spirit's Robe is safe, Magi's is very safe. They have lots of physical, Hide is safe. So it's up to you. Do whatever you want to do. I'm going to recommend Magi's for right now, or Spirit's Robe. They're both my favorite items in the game, pretty much. And you round out the build with an Executioner. Once you finish Executioner, you are doing an immense amount of damage without damage items, which is just the thing that's broken about Bellona. Just always remember, you don't need those crit items. You don't need Jotuns. You don't need an insane amount of pure pen items like Titan's Bane or something like that. You really just need these core 6 items to do crazy damage, to sustain in a team fight, and to do your job and do it very well. If you want to be a nuisance and just always be in their face, you don't have to build Executioner. You can change that for another defensive item. Just depends on what your role is. Anyway, this is going to be my full build recommendation for Bellona with those item swaps in certain spots I already talked about. It's really up to you. You base it off what you're playing against and just do your best to itemize at a top level. That's my recommendation for Bellona. Now, second on this list, I personally would say you should go with Hun Batz or Serqet. Both of them are very, very strong. As I was saying, both Serqet and Hun Batz are very, very strong. They both have their own pros and cons and weaknesses and strengths. But Hun Batz is what I would go with as number 2 on the top 5 jungler list. This is because Hun Batz also does not get countered super hard by many gods. He's very, very general in the playstyle, does very well against almost every god, doesn't do too poorly against many gods. I'd say Arachne, which no one plays, can do very, very well against Hun Batz if played right. Most people do not know how to play Arachne anywhere near the level you need to counter Hun Batz. A Weelix can also do well against Hun Batz. A very, very good Thor can do well against Hun Batz. But like I said, if you're playing Hun Batz at a good level, at an average level, against another average player and playing any other jungler, you will be in a good position. Now, I'm going to go ahead and jump right into the build, because you guys know what Hun Batz does. Same thing, jungler, you're starting Bumba's Mask, and I, once again, start with Hog 1. It's very, very good. You do not need Hog 2. You should be splitting your camps with every single one of these junglers. Split every single camp with somebody, whether it be your solo laner, your middle laner, your support, whatever. Split your camps. It helps you optimize clearing, it optimizes farm, it makes it so you do not need a Hog 2 for that shorter cooldown. Now for the builds. I go, once again, Rush Boots, Warrior Tabby. You're not an auto attack god. While you use an ability and then your auto attack can crit, that does not make you an auto attack god. It makes you an ability based god that uses an auto attack rate after each ability. So Warrior Tabby, key. Jotun's Wrath, second item. CDR, getting your ult up over and over and over again, it's key. It always has been, it always will be. Now, as long as you are not super far behind, even if you are far behind, you probably still want to build Deathbringer. No matter what, you probably want to build Deathbringer. It boosts your damage an insane amount. The extra crit damage on top of, I think you'll have like 50 or 55% crit after an ability, whatever it is. You will be hitting very, very hard. If you finish Deathbringer pre-18 minutes, you are going to destroy anyone on the other team. Unless somehow they're super far ahead too, you will crush them with a full rotation on all your abilities. Just make sure you are ulting, using an auto attack, using an ability, auto attacking, jumping, auto attacking. Make sure you're auto attacking after each ability. That is pretty much the key and why Deathbringer is so important. Now you want to go ahead and go right into a a Magi's here. Unless you're just so far ahead you're not worried about dying. If the other team has no lockdown, then you might not go Magi's, but as a safe bet, you're going to want to build Magi's. You have CC immunity, you get extra health, you get some protections. Now say they have no lockdown at all, it's just a full aggression team, and you're actually able to do more damage than them, you can go Titan's Bane here. If you are building a Titan's Bane here, just remember you're a little bit squishier at that 20-25 minute point, whatever. Whenever you're finishing that item, you are kind of squishy, so you don't want to be right in the middle of the fight when the abilities are being used. You kind of want to avoid them, stay in the back of the fight, come around from the sides, whatever. Just position better if you do this. But I recommend going into a Magi's first. It's really, really good. Plus, you finish Magi's, then you go into a Titan's Bane right here. It's really that simple. You go into a Titan's Bane. Now, this is my core build. These 5 items. This is what I really, really like. I build all the time. Change up the order occasionally, but these are the 5. Now, this last item can vary dramatically. A lot of people like to go Runeforged Hammer. You get some health. You get a little bit more power, not much. You get some protections. I like to go Spirit Robe. You cap out on your CDR. The fact that you can go ahead and jump in and auto attack a few times, use your abilities, and then walk away and then jump right back into the fight is really, really strong, and that's why I recommend this item. You get both protections, physical and magical, so it's good against everybody in the game. Sure, you don't get any health, but if you're playing properly with the CC reductions, with your beads, with the reduced CDR on your abilities, you're going to be super, super strong, and that's really all you need to worry about. You could, like I said, change it up with whatever defensive item you want. I recommend Spirit's Robe. You can do whatever you want. You can even go more damage. If you're that far ahead, build another damage item. Go crit, go malice, go whatever you really want to do. It's completely up to you. I just recommend these 5, these 5 items as your core. Now we're going to go ahead and jump into the god I think is 3rd on the list, and that is Serqet. I've known for playing Serqet a lot. I haven't played it so much in Season 2 because she, like I said, she's kind of in the middle. She can be countered by some gods. With the introduction of a Wheelix, you can have a rough time if you play against a really, really good Wheelix. But in general, if you're playing smart and at the top level of this god, you're playing this god, you know all the rotations, you know how to use the abilities properly, then you should be good in almost every situation. I'd avoid playing maybe Thor. Thor does really well against Serqet, and maybe in a Wheelix. Those are the 2 gods I would recommend to try to avoid when playing Serqet. Now the build, once again, same starter items. You're going Bumbas, you're going Hog 1 at the start. You're finishing boots as fast as possible. You're going to look at Warrior Tabby. You're not an auto attack god at all. This is the same thing as Hun Batz. You're an ability based god who uses an auto attack at the proper times to maximize damage. Now you're going to go ahead and rush into Jotuns. Just like any other ability based god, you want to ult as much as possible. You want to be as mobile as possible, which means having more abilities up. Now your 3rd item, once again, just like Hun Batz, you're going Deathbringer. Your first ability on Serqet can crit. So if you build a Deathbringer and you get a triple crit, you get a triple crit on your first ability, that god is going to die. Unless they are super tanky, they will die, I promise you. Now, just like Hun Batz, this 4th item slot can vary however you want. If you're ahead, I recommend building Malice. You continue to keep up the pressure. You're so mobile in Serqet, and with beads, assuming you build beads on every jungler, that's what I do. With beads, you will be very safe. Now, if you feel like you aren't safe, they have a lot of lockdown, you don't want to build damage, you go Magi's Blessing. You go this to maintain the ability to be mobile without being interrupted. Your abilities cannot be interrupted. Your ult is the only ability that makes you CC immune, and you really don't have control of your god during that time, so Magi's Blessing is huge for getting your full ability rotation off. I really, really like this item. I will always build this item. Now you can go into Malice after. Malice is key on this god. Do not build Rage. I do not go Rage because your first ability does not stack up the Rage stacks. You very rarely auto attack outside of popping your passive. So for you to build Rage, it's really not worth it. Go Malice. You get the extra damage from the physical value, just pure damage. You get a little bit of crit, and then you also get the bleed damage, assuming you crit on your auto attack, which is really, really nice. You may not notice it all the time, but it does do a decent amount of damage. Now, I finish out this build. I do not like to build tanky on Serqet at all. Magi's is my 1 defensive item. I like to go into a Titan's Bane here. I don't know the math, honestly, behind Titan's Bane and the other penetration items. I've just always built Titan's Bane. I'm comfortable with it. If you do the math behind it and find out another penetration item is better, then go for it. But I recommend Titan's Bane. This is the full build. I've always used this build. I switch up when I buy Magi's and Malice sometimes, but this has been my full build since Season 1, since I started playing Serqet. And I was one of the first people to play Serqet. I was one of the first people to come up with this build, so I will forever recommend it until somebody shows me something better. Now, the fourth god on this list is where people start to sometimes argue a little bit. You're really looking at either Thor, Nemesis, or even Athena. A lot of people do not consider Athena as a top jungler. I will always consider Athena to be a top jungler. She may be a guardian, but the CC amount and the mobility with your ult is the whole reasoning behind it. But yeah, with that being said, as number 4 on the list, I really would put Nemesis there. I would not put Thor or Athena there. With Nemesis, it's not played a lot. She's not played a lot, but she is a very, very, very strong god. The ult on her is what makes her make it through that early game. The level 5 on is where she slowly starts to build up. Your actual 1 to 4 is very, very weak. You have to play smart and farm up as fast as possible to maximize your time on this god. But with with Nemesis, you can focus on killing tanks, which is not possible with many gods. And in a lot of these meta shifts, you're seeing more guardians, more warriors sometimes. When those metas come into play like they did, where we were seeing 3 guardians, 2 hunters, a god like Nemesis can really shine, and people don't realize that. So with Nemesis jungle, you're starting off same things. Bumba's Mask, Hog 1. You're rushing into boots. Now, you can go either boots here. The math behind it is very, very small. Like, the difference between the two is very, very small late game. I go Ninja Tabby. Sometimes I'll buy Warrior Tabby. There's really no reason behind it. I just like to change it up sometimes. Ninja Tabby is what I recommend, though. Now, I do not go Jotun's Wrath. I believe that where the early game stands right now, fights start out so fast and they're so important, and Gold Furies are done so early that the fact that you can get your ult off a few more times is not worth it. You want to rush into an Ichball, get maximum auto attack damage off early, like super early. You're spending what 3,200 gold just to finish these 2 items to do an immense amount of damage. You ult somebody, you attack them with Ichball 3-4 times, you're hitting like a bus, and that's just what you need to focus on. That's why Nemesis is so strong. Now, after that, I love to go into Frostbound Hammer. You get tanky, you get a little bit of damage, just like playing Bellona, while your kit's a little bit different, and you do have a more aggressive kill kit. The Frostbound allows you to stick on somebody with that defensive stat on it. That extra health, while also just being able to stick on whoever you want, is huge. Now, you're building Ichball, Frostbound, then you're going into a tanky item. I once again go Midgardian Mail. There is a lot of physical damage in this meta. With your shield on Nemesis, your third ability, you can avoid a lot of that burst magical damage. You can avoid Poseidon ults. You can just eat them and pop your 3, and it negates a lot of the damage, returns some of it. It's huge. So I go Midgardian Mail. Then as the 5th item, I look at more defense. I either go Spirit's Robe, pretty much like 99% of the time, since I have beads, I really like Spirit's Robe, or you can go Magi's Blessing. I recommend Spirit Robe, get that extra little bit of CDR that you're lacking when you don't go Jotuns, and you're tanky, you're good to go, you do whatever you want. Last item, I rounded out with a build similar to Bellona. I'm going Executioner. Maximize your auto attack damage, you're an auto attack god, you're awesome with this build, no one can stop you, it's crazy. In this spot though, I'm going to jump back. With the Midgardian Mail, you can once again switch between the Midgardian Mail, or I can't even find it, sorry. The Midgardian Mail or the Mystical Mail. I recommend Midgardian Mail a little bit more on Nemesis because you want to finish that maximum build, pump out maximum damage as fast as possible. Mystical Mail puts you 600 gold, maybe not behind, but 600 gold down. It's up to you. You do what you want. You tell me what you're more comfortable with. This, however, is my build that I go with 99% of the time. It's very strong. Try Nemesis out when you see low mobile gods, low mobile tanks. If you have a very good burst comp on your team, Nemesis is strong. If you just have sustain, Nemesis is strong. She's good in almost every situation. Just have to play her properly, use your shields properly, use your dashes properly, know who to ult. That's my recommendations when you play Nemesis. Now, we're going to go ahead and jump into the 5th god. Lots of people will argue with me here. It's pretty common. People would think I'd go with Thor as number 5. I personally hate Thor. I think Bellona crushes Thor. I think if you play Thanatos properly, you beat Thor. I think Serqet can play well against Thor. I think Hun Batz can play well against Thor. I think Nemesis can play well against Thor. That's why I do not put Thor in my top 5. I'd put Thor at number 6 probably. I actually put Athena the Guardian as my 5th top jungler, however you want to say it. Athena is who I would go 5th on my list if I did not have access to the other 4 gods and my support was okay with giving it to me. Now, Athena is a support jungler. You're not a super damage jungler. You have a lot of burst. Early to mid, you are great damage. But late game, unless you're just crazy far ahead, sorry guys, unless you're crazy far ahead, your damage is average. Yeah, honestly, it's really average. It's burst damage. You have no sustain. You do your abilities, your taunt, and then you're done. So I go into normal jungle start on this god. Now I rush into CDR boots as fast as possible. With CDR boots, you usually finish them before you have to ult the first time, which is huge. 15% off of your ult cooldown, like before using it the first time, just means you're going to get that many more ults up. So what I try to do is I try to either we fight for mid camps or we just take mid camps, trade them, whatever. Back, buy boots, look to fight right away. If your team can get a good fight where you have numbers, or even they're just, it's 2-on-2 for them, and then you ult in, you can change the whole fight. And then you can use your ult again really, really quickly because you have the cooldown boots. So I'm going to choose a focus first, and then I like to build into more tanky. Mid-Guardian Mail. I don't like Mystical Mail on Athena at all. It's too expensive. Finish Mid-Guardian Mail, get tanky, get health, and just keep taunting, frontlining, poking them down over and over and over again because you are playing a Guardian in the jungle. Now, the build can vary a lot here. Some people pick a Void Stone. If they have a lot of magical damage, that is an option. However, I recommend going Ethereal Staff. If you're going Ethereal Staff, you're getting health, you're getting power, you already got health on your Mid-Guardian Mail, you're super tanky at this point, no one can do anything to you realistically unless you're behind. You're just so tanky, you have so much health, and assuming you have a team behind you, no one can do anything to you. Just remember that when you're playing, as long as your team is with you, you are unstoppable. I like to go into more damage here. Some people go into like a Rod or whatever. I recommend Soul Reaver first. You get that burst, that right away burst. You're playing a burst damage god anyway as it is. So build a Soul Reaver. You can build more tanky, or you can go Magi's instead of Soul Reaver, but I like finishing Soul Reaver right away. I then, assuming we have another front line, I will go Rod of Tahuti. The Rod, just extra damage, extra burst, whatever. You can go Magi's here in this position. Completely up to you and how the game is playing out, how your team is playing, whatever. Then I finish off with the Magi's. It's, like I said, these 3 items right here, Soul Reaver, Rod of Tahuti, Magi's, can all be interchanged. Really just do what you want. I would recommend the 3, the Shoes of Focus, the Mid-Guardian Mail, the Ethereal Staff is your core 3, and then switching around Soul Reaver, Rod, and Magi's however you feel necessary. You can change out Magi's for a Spirit Robe, because you'll get more CDR. You won't cap CDR, but you'll be pretty close. So, yeah, just it's up to you. You do what you want. You guys tell me how these builds work for you, what variations you guys make in these builds. Go ahead and tell me. Put them in the comments below. Let me know what you think of this video. You can argue with me about the top 5 god, whatever. I do like discussing it, but I have talked about it a lot on stream, and these are the 5 I've come down to, and the 5 I find to be very successful at the competitive and ranked level. If you guys like this video, go ahead and tell me, like the video, subscribe to me. I really would appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and start making videos like this. I'm going to get more into guides on how to use the abilities on these 5 gods and then go ahead and jump around. I will have a video coming out talking about warding as a jungler and just a few little things that I'm working on. So you guys go ahead and tell me what you think, and thanks for the support, guys.